Hi, Ema Royal here with Astro Yoga, and today we're going to work with the theme of Jupiter entering Pisces. So Jupiter has been in Aquarius since December of last year, along with that great Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. And for a little while, Saturn is gone into Pisces on May 13th. And Jupiter expands everything it touches. It magnifies. A lot of people call it the planet of luck. And our definition of luck is opportunity meets preparation. So in working with your will center and intention, Jupiter can really expand and activate those things. When it enters into Pisces, Pisces is about that apparent but unseen, our connection to our higher self and in the invisible realms. And it tends to be geared towards altered states of consciousness. And so Jupiter entering Pisces can act a lot like having abilities, superhuman abilities, or activating those intentions at a higher octave. Right now, we're approaching eclipse season and Mercury will be retrograde. So those scenes may overshadow this sort of beneficial energy of Jupiter and Pisces. And Jupiter will be in Pisces until July 28th, and then it will go back into Pisces in December. So this will give us just a little bit of that taste. So working with the apparent but unseen, and trying to align consciously with our will center. And we can do this by activating our heart. And themes around truth and freedom are going to be coming up during the eclipse season. So really aligning with your heart and your moon center, which is that receptive feminine energy, and working with the moon cycles. So in Astro Yoga, we do sun salutations as well as moon salutations. And moon salutations under new moons are really potent for activating intention. And the full moon is that release of the cycle. And we're going to be approaching eclipse season. So doing the moon salutations during those times are going to be really potent. So let's just take some time to settle in as we prepare to come into our practice. Find some nurturing and supportive energy from the earth to sustain you as we breathe together. And let's activate our breath from the bottom of our lungs up by expanding our bellies, filling through the side body, on up to the top of the lungs to the collarbones. And when you've taken as much air as you can, exhale your breath as slowly as you can. And we're going to repeat these full yogic breaths on our own. And just noticing all the spaces that the prana is entering. And use this time to really tune in. Yoga is about the practice of awareness and presence, and your breath is that tool or vehicle that can bring us to that. It's really not about what it looks like on the outside, but those inner spaces that we go into inside. So use your breath as your roadmap or your monitor of how you're doing in your practice. If you feel like you're pushing up on an edge, or maybe you're breathing a little higher on your chest, maybe back off the pose a little so that your breath is more easeful. So poses should be with ease and stability. So where can you bring a little more awareness so that you are entering into that ease and from a stable place? So let's start to do some dynamic warm-ups, coming to all fours, hands and knees, wrists below shoulders and knees below hips. We're going to come into cat and cow. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. And coming into child's pose. Inhaling for kneeling prayer. Exhaling, hands to heart. We're coming to gate pose on the right side. Breathing through the side body. And then coming back to all fours, hands and knees. Extending the right arm and the left leg, opposite arm and leg lift. Finding your neutral pelvis. And on the exhale, curl everything into center, knee to elbow. Inhale to extend. And then coming back to all fours, hands and knees. We're going to do everything on the other side. Inhaling for cow. Exhale for cow. Coming to child's pose. Inhaling for kneeling prayer. Exhaling, hands to heart. I'm coming to gate on the left side. Breathing through the side body. And coming back to all fours, hands and knees, extending the left arm and the right leg, opposite arm and leg lift, finding your neutral pelvis. Exhale to curl into center. Inhale to extend. And then coming back to all fours, hands and knees. We're going to repeat this motion at your own pace, using your breath. And if you get lost, just allow your body to guide your movements. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's just a felt sense so that we can start to warm up our bodies, getting ready for more active movement. Bringing the synovial fluid through our joints and our spine. Use this time to explore and play. How is your body feeling at the beginning of your movements? We're going to complete one more round on each side. And when you've completed both sides, meet me in child's pose. And from child's pose, just sense your breath through your back body. You can always come back to child's pose at any point of your practice to reset, reconnect. Maybe rocking your head back and forth to activate your third eye, massaging your brow center, activates the lunar moon part of our consciousness, that receptive feminine energy. We're going to prepare to come into our first downward facing dog. Begin to spread your fingers well so that most of the emphasis is on the pad of your fingertips. And when you're ready, begin to tuck your toes, lifting your knees and raising your hips, coming into downward facing dog. Begin to pedal your heels. Your heels do not need to touch so that you May need to bend your knees well so that you have broadened shoulders and an extended spine. And just allow your neck to hang long. Using your breath. And begin to look forward and start to step towards the front of your mat, coming into a standing forward fold. And bend your knees well so that your chest can rest on your thighs. This will allow energy to come out to your neck and through the top of your head, allowing your neck to hang long. Maybe grabbing opposite elbows. Rocking side to side if that feels good. Shaking your head left and right, up and down. Just allowing tension to release out your shoulders with each exhale. Now we're going to begin to roll up one vertebrae at a time into standing. And standing is the foundation of all the poses in standing position. Tadasana mountain pose. So activate all four corners of your feet for the Pada Bandha, engaging through your strong legs. And find that slight lifting through your pelvic floor to activate the Mula Bandha, engaging through your core and your pelvis for the Uddiyana Bandha, broadening your shoulders, and extending your neck long, activating the Jalandhara Bandha. Find what is neutral for you. And then inhale to extend your arms overhead. Exhale to shift to your right for crescent. Inhale for neutral. Exhale to shift to your left for crescent. Inhaling for neutral. And from the top of your mat, coming to a standing forward fold. Inhale to lift your heart. And exhale to step your left foot back, placing the left knee down on your mat. We're going to come into lizard pose. So place your palms on the inside of your left foot and begin to rock your left foot to the edge of your mat and maybe bringing your knee back a little more. And so for Pigeon Prep, you can stay up onto your palms, or you can come down to your forearms. This is going to begin to stretch your left hip socket. See if you can send breath and prana. And if you'd like a little more, you can come into monkey tail from here. Wherever you're at, coming back through lizard, back onto the palms of your hands and finding downward facing dog. Begin to extend your right leg long behind you. And as you exhale, curl your knee into your chest, stepping it toward your palms and placing your left knee down on the mat. And begin to shimmy your right foot out to the edge of your mat and finding your lizard pose that works for you. On the tops of your palms, you're coming down to your forearms. Breathing into your right hip socket. And monkey tail if you're choosing that route. Coming back to lizard and finding your way to downward facing dog. Be in downward facing dog for 3 full breaths. Use this time to check in with yourself. Finding nice fluid breath. On the next inhale, begin to look forward, bending your knees and stepping or hopping towards the front of your mat. Inhale to lift your heart. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, hands to heart. And right away, coming to a forward fold. Inhale to lift your heart. And exhale to step to plank and hold. We'll be here for 5 full breaths. So use your breath to anchor, engaging through your core. On the last exhale, slowly lowering down to your mat. Coming to the tops of your feet and hugging your legs to midline. We're going to come up into Cobra from here. Begin to lift your chest and extend your neck long. This does not need to be a large movement. And exhale to lower. We're going to come up into Cobra one more time so you can play with different hand placements if you like. Inhale to rise. Making sure that you have an extended neck. And maybe using some movement if that feels nice. Exhale to lower. And coming through downward facing dog. And we'll be here for 3 full breaths. The next inhale, looking forward, bending your knees and stepping hopping to the front of your mat. Inhale to lift your heart. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, hands to heart. So we're going to come into the Sun B Salutations. Coming into your chair pose, imagining that you're sitting in a chair, activating through your thighs, engaging through your core. And when you're ready, you can increase the load by raising your arms overhead or to the side. We're going to start to come into drinking bird from here. On the exhale, bringing your arms back and coming to the tops of your toes. And then inhaling for chair. Exhale for drinking bird. Inhale for chair. Exhale, drinking bird. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And then exhale to fold. Inhale to lift your heart. And on the exhale, step to plank and hold. We're going to slowly lower down to the mat. We're going to set up for Locust Pose from here. Extending your arms behind you. Begin to lift through your chest and extend your neck. And lift through the backs of your thighs. And for a little more, you can grab your feet or your ankles and come into bow pose. This might give you a little more lift. Using your breath to stabilize. Exhale to lower. And coming into downward facing dog. Inhale to lift the right leg long behind you. On the exhale, begin to curl your knee in toward your chest and step it toward your palms. Inhale, rising to high lunge. On the exhale, begin to cactus your arms and bring your knee down to the mat. Inhale, high lunge. On the exhale, we're going to come into warrior 3. So slightly coming forward. Finding warrior 3. See if you can find a neutral pelvis from here. And exhale to lightly tap back, finding your high lunge. And then we're going to transition to warrior 2 from here. You begin to widen your stance to find your warrior 2. Feeling your strength, your determination, and your intention. Exhale to reverse your warrior. And then we're going to come through extended side angle from here. Begin to rotate your torso towards the ceiling. And if you like to take a bind, you can take a bind from here. Yogi's choice. And then to come out, cartwheel your palms towards the mat and transition to downward facing dog. If you like to take a vinyasa, you can take one from here. Meeting me in downward facing dog. We'll be here for 3 full breaths. Where are you at this point in your practice? On the next exhale, looking forward, bending your knees and stepping or hopping towards the front of your mat. Inhale to lift your chest. Exhale to fold. Inhale, coming to chair pose from here. Good work. I'm going to go to the other side of the mat so I can mirror you. And we're going to do everything on the other side. Coming into your chair pose. Extending your arms overhead. And getting ready for drinking bird. Exhale to extend your arms behind you, coming onto your toes. Inhale for chair. Exhale, drinking bird. Inhale, chair. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Next exhale, coming into your forward fold. Inhale to lift your chest and exhale to step to plank. And you can take a vinyasa from here to travel to downward facing dog, or you can do any of the options that we did before, or just coming straight through to downward facing dog. Inhale to extend your left leg long behind you. On the exhale, begin to curl your knee in toward your chest and step it toward your palms. Inhale, rise to stand for high lunge. On the exhale, begin to cactus your arms, bringing your knee to the mat. Inhale, high lunge. We're going to transition to warrior 3 from here. When you're ready, warrior 3. Finding stability through your pelvis. And to come out, lightly tap back onto the back foot, finding your high lunge. Transitioning to warrior 3, maybe widening your stance. Finding the strength of the warrior. Finding your stability. Finding your focus. Exhale to reverse your warrior. And then transition to extended side angle. Rotating your torso. Finding your breath. And if you'd like to take a bind, taking your bind. And then cartwheeling your palms towards your mat and transitioning to downward facing dog. We'll be here for 3 full breaths. Use this time to check in. Child's pose is always an option. On the next inhale, begin to look forward, bending your knees and stepping or hopping towards the front of your mat. Inhale to lift your heart. Exhale to fold. Inhale for chair. All right. So we have just completed the activating part of our practice, the sun salutations, and we're going to move into the receptive part of the moon salutations. So I'm going to mirror you. I'm coming to the other side of the mat. And the moon salutations. Inhale, extending your arms overhead. Exhale to shift to your right for crescent. Inhale for neutral. Exhale to your left for crescent. Inhale for neutral. On the exhale, begin to step your left foot wide along the mat for star pose. This is going to be your full moon expression. Exhale for goddess. Inhale for star. And we're going to start to wane our moon, finding triangle pose by pivoting your foot towards the other side of the mat and reaching your arm. And then coming to triangle pose. This is your gibbous phase of the moon. And we're going to continue to wane our moon. We're going to come into triangle pose or pyramid pose from here. So start to pivot your hips so they're parallel to the other side of your mat and hop that back foot in a little and keep a bend to your front knee. Extended your spine long. On the exhale, begin to hinge your hips for pyramid pose. Continuing to find the waning moon. Bringing your back knee down. Keeping your front knee at a 90 degree. And we're going to find the quarter moon expression. Bringing your arms overhead. Finding a neutral pelvis. And next we're going to shift to the crescent phase of the moon. Coming to Skandasana or surface pose on the left side. And finding whatever load or hand placement feels good for you. And next, we're going to find our new moon expression coming to the center of the mat for Malasana squat. And we had just passed our new moon. And we're coming into our waxing gibbous phase of the moon. As our moon is starting to get a little larger. Coming into your Skandasana or surface pose on the right side. Our current phase is in Cancer. It's that watery emotional quality. As your intentions are starting to take seed, preparing to come into that lunar eclipse is coming up. And we're going to shift into the quarter moon expression, bringing the back knee down on the mat. Inhale to extend your arms overhead. And next, finding pyramid from the ground up. Begin to hop that back foot in, keeping a bend to your front knee, and see if you can find a neutral spine. As your moon is continuing to get larger. And then finding triangle from the ground up, hopping that back foot out. Then raising the left arm up like a clock striking midnight for your triangle. This is your waxing gibbous phase of the moon. And then mindfully finding star pose for the full moon expression. Exhale for goddess. Inhale for star. All right, we're going to do everything we just did on the other side. So I'm coming to the other side of the mat so I can mirror you. Inhaling your arms overhead. Exhale to your right for crescent. Inhale for neutral. Exhale to your left for crescent. Inhale for neutral. On the exhale, step your right foot wide along the mat, finding your star pose, your full moon expression. Exhale for goddess. Inhale for star. And we're shifting into triangle pose from here. As the moon is beginning to wane. For the gibbous expression. And next, we're going to come into pyramid pose, bringing your hips parallel to the other side of the mat, hopping that back foot in. Inhale to extend your spine and exhale to hinge from your hips. Coming into a bent knee so that you can have a neutral spine. And next, coming into that quarter moon expression, bringing the back knee down on the mat. Keeping the front knee at a 90 degree. Inhale to extend your arms overhead. And then exhale to Skandasana to your right side for that crescent phase of the moon. Finding your hand placement that feels nice. And then coming to the center of your mat for Malasana squat for your new moon expression. And then coming through Skandasana on the other side for your waxing crescent phase, the current phase that we're in. Sensing the emotional quality of Cancer. And then coming into the quarter moon expression, bringing your back knee down on the mat, keeping your front knee at a 90 degree. Inhaling your arms overhead. And next, finding pyramid from the ground up. Begin to hop that back foot in. Finding a bend in your front knee so that you can have an extended spine. And then coming into triangle from the ground up, hopping that back foot out. And then begin to raise the left arm up like a clock striking midnight for your waxing gibbous phase of the moon. And next, we're going to come into a full moon expression, mindfully bringing your hips up so that you can find your star, your full moon expression, taking up as much space as you can. Exhale for goddess. Inhale for star. So we have just completed the lunar phase of our practice. We're going to start to wind down, bringing your hands to your hips. We're going to come into a wide leg forward fold. Begin to hinge from your hips and placing your palms underneath your shoulders. And begin to bring your left palm underneath your nose. And on the inhale, begin to raise your right arm towards the sky, finding your twist. With each exhale, releasing. On the next exhale to unwind, placing your right palm underneath your nose. On the inhale, raising your left arm upwards, finding your twist. And then exhale to release. We're going to find downward facing dog arms from here. Begin to extend your arms out, finding an extended spine. Maybe a little bend to your knees. And then we're going to come through the other side by bringing your palms underneath so that you are in a gentle inversion from here. Maybe finding a little more bend to your knee. And bringing your palms underneath your shoulders to come out. And then we're going to slowly hinge up, bringing your hands to your hips. And then coming up to standing. Exhale, hopping your feet together. And then we're going to start to come down to our mats in a Malasana squat. And if you'd like to take a crow pose from here, this is a good opportunity. Placing your palms down and finding your knee placement, maybe high up and towards your armpits. Looking forward and finding your crow. This is just for practice and fun, taking time to explore. And then coming down onto your mats, extending your feet out in front of you. Maybe pulling the flesh out from underneath so that you can find the connection from the base of your spine to your mat. And we're going to come into our seated forward fold. Inhale your arms overhead. And as you exhale, begin to hinge forward in a reach. You might want to keep your knees bent. Inhale to extend, exhale to reach. And just keep repeating this movement until you have as much extension as you can get, and then you can begin to round over. And the next exhale to release. We're going to come into a seated twist, bringing your right foot around your left knee. Begin to kickstand your right arm behind you. Inhale to extend your left arm overhead and begin to hinge it towards your right knee. Inhale to extend. Exhale to twist, looking towards your right shoulder. On the next exhale, unwind. We're going to do the other side by bringing the left foot around the right knee, kickstanding the left arm behind you. Inhale to extend your right arm overhead and begin to hinge it towards your right knee. Inhale to extend. Exhale to twist, looking towards your left shoulder. And exhale to release. We're going to begin to roll down, or actually we're going to come into our boat pose from here. So start to rock towards your pelvis into the base of your spine and bringing your feet up maybe at a 90 degree, or you can find a little more extension. This is going to engage your core. And you can keep your hands connected, or you can release for a little more engagement. We're going to be here for 5 full breaths. Then exhale to release, coming into butterfly pose, Badakanasana. We're going to come into boat, Navasana one more time. When you're ready, finding your boat. And then exhale to release, finding Badakanasana, butterfly. We're going to start to roll down to our mats one vertebrae at a time, keeping your knees bent, seeing if you can use your core to slow down the motion of going down. And then once you are down on your mat, bring your heels so that your fingertips can graze them. We're going to start to come up into a bridge pose from here. So think about anchoring through your feet and engaging through your thighs. And when you're ready, start to lift your hips, finding bridge pose, making sure that the weight is placed onto your shoulders or the back of your head, keeping a nice extension through your neck so that there is no weight on it. Exhale to release the lower down. We're going to come up one more time for bridge pose. When you're ready, engaging through your feet, activating through your thighs, and starting to lift through your hips. If you have the capacity to clasp your hands underneath, this is going to bring the weight onto your forearms. And this will give you a little more lift through your hips. Using your breath. And then exhale to lower. Begin to bring your knees into your chest, hugging that towards your chest. Maybe rocking side to side to give yourself a low back massage. And bring your knees at a 90 degree. We're going to come into a reclined pigeon from here. Place your right ankle over your left knee so that you're at a figure four. And then weave your hands underneath your thigh or behind your knee. This is going to create resistance, and this is going to bring a stretch to your right hip socket. So you can choose the level of resistance you need. Use your breath to bring awareness to your right hip. Noticing if you're feeling any emotional release, just being present through breath. And the next exhale to release. And finding your figure four on the other side, bringing your left knee, ankle over your right knee. You might find that one side is a little tighter than the other. And finding your hand placement behind your knee or your thigh and finding the level of resistance that you need. Using your breath, staying present. And then exhale to release. Maybe coming into a happy baby from here, rocking side to side. And we're going to come into a reclined twist from here. Extend your arms out in a figure T. And then begin to bring your hips over to the left side of your mat. And then we're going to start to bring the knees over towards the right side, using your core to slow down this movement. And then when your knees are placed, you can look towards the opposite side. Twists are a good place to release toxins. And so if you think of your body like a sponge, like your organs are releasing toxins with each exhale, like a sponge that is wringing out. Just allowing through each exhale to release. And then coming through center to come out, hugging the knees in, and then start to bring your hips to the other side of the mat. And begin to lower your knees to the other side, using your core to stabilize. And then looking towards the opposite hand. Using your exhales to release toxins out your organs. And then coming through center, bring your knees to your chest and hugging everything in. And we're going to start to come into our Shavasana, our final relaxation pose. So if there's any other poses that you might need to complete your practice, go ahead and take that now. And when you're ready, coming into your final relaxation pose, Shavasana. They say that this is the most important pose of all. It is the place of non-doing. It's just a place of being. And this is where everything resets and regenerates at a cellular level. All the neural connections that you made during your practice are starting to form new patterns and new habits. So it's through this receptive place that all these neural connections can be made as we're building a new mind map. So see if you can let go with each exhale, just allowing as your body has the intelligence to take what it needs in this time of rest, that all the magic is done. Just allowing and letting go. Just letting your mind drift and taking this time to be present to yourself. I'm going to close our practice with a verse from the Tao Te Ching, a little book of wisdom. A good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent upon arriving. A good artist lets their intuition lead them wherever it wants. A good scientist has freed themselves of concepts and keeps their mind open to what is. Thus, the vast master is available to all people. and doesn't reject anyone. They are ready to use all situations and doesn't waste anything. This is called embodying the light. What is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? If you don't understand this, you will get lost. However intelligent you are, it is the great secret. Om Shanti. 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 And as you prepare to come into your day, find some deeper breaths as you come into your bodies, finding some small movements, maybe wiggling your fingers and your toes, maybe stretching your arms overhead and rolling over to one side. And as you feel called, meeting me in seated position. And bringing your hands to heart center. And thank yourself for bringing yourself to the mat today, for taking time for self-care, and honoring your practice and cultivating that space of your heart, aligning with your connection with the universe, and taking time to explore through breath, through play, through creativity. As you take that time to nurture and care for yourself, you allow that energy to come from inside out. And it is through filling your own vessel that you have capacity to give to others. The teacher in me honors and sees the teacher in you. Thank you.